Novak Djokovic continues to wow us with his tremendous mental strength and ability to bounce back from any situation. When he isn't defending like a maniac and nailing returns from insane angles, he's usually in formidable form and is steamrolling past his opponents. That's his scarier version, and it is what the fans were treated to in the Italian Open. Let's take a look. First up, Djokovic makes light work of Tsitsipas. Novak Djokovic won his 38th ATP Masters crown in Rome after delivering another sensational performance against world number 4 Stefanos Tsitsipas. It was almost too easy, if not for the slightly contested second set, but Djokovic, being Djokovic, saw off the spirited display from Tsitsipas and won yet again. Coming into the final, the Greek star was hopeful of getting a result, even if he wasn't the favorite. However, he started off slow as Djokovic broke him thrice and started the final with a humiliating bagel. It was an angry display from the Serb, ensuring that Tsitsipas wouldn't be given an inch of hope and pinned him down early on. This was somewhat of a surprise because Djokovic is usually the one who starts slow and offers his opponents the chance to hope for a win after a good start. Then, as we all know, takes away that hope by smashing them to pieces, very much like a cat playing with a mouse before devouring it. Tsitsipas would have known all about it. After all, he's the one who led last year's Roland Garros final by 2 sets before Djokovic came from behind to win it in 5. But maybe that's why Steph was taken aback, because Noel wasn't messing around this time. He had the first set in the bag within the blink of an eye, and all the on-court coaching in the world couldn't have helped Tsitsipas in Rome that evening. Credit to him for making the second set a little bit interesting, but Djokovic shut the door in the tiebreak and completed a magnificent victory. Next, we have Djokovic's staggering title win in numbers. Statistically speaking, Djokovic's win was even more impressive than the good old eye test. He was in sensational touch all week, and he completed the entire tournament without losing a single set. That's always the most amazing measure, because it shows that the player was extremely dominant and didn't have any concentration lapses throughout the tournament. He also marked his career's 1,000th victory when he defeated Casper Ruud in the semifinals. In the all-time charts, only 4 players are ahead of Djokovic, with 2 of them being his long-term rivals, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. However, his win percentage is second only to Nadal. With his title win in Rome, the Serbian superstar becomes the oldest player to win the Italian Open, surpassing Rafael Nadal. It also marked his 38th Masters 1000 title, extending his own record at the top. Not to mention that with this win, Djokovic now has a 232 and 106 record against the top 10 opponents. No player has a better record since the ATP ranking system was introduced all the way back in 1973. What a player! And now for Novak's perfect Italian Open triumph. It wasn't a one-off win for Novak either. He's been in blistering form ever since he arrived in Rome. Given how tough of a draw he was dealt, Djokovic gave no one any room for excuses. Aslan Karatsev can be a tough opponent for anyone on his day, but unfortunately for the Russian, he was playing against someone who's had enough. It was a comfortable win, with the Serb only dropping 5 games. And then he came up against one of the best players on clay, Stan Wawrinka. Sure, Wawrinka's recovering from his injury, and he's far off his best, but Djokovic eased past him with a 6-2, 6-2 win in the round of 16. It got tougher in the final 8, as the young Canadian starlet, Felix Auger-Aliassime, really pushed Djokovic to the limit. His resolve was broken late in the first set, but he came back to test Novak again in the second. Felix fell short in the tiebreak as Djokovic ticked off win number 999 of his glittering career. Next was Casper Ruud, and while the Norwegian has enjoyed a good season, he wasn't going to stand in Djokovic's way. And he didn't, since he marked a milestone 1,000th career victory and went on to win the final. With this phenomenal display, the 20-time Grand Slam winner revealed that he's been building his form in the last few weeks and that it couldn't be better timing to be playing in the Roland Garros. Perfect scenario for me, says Djokovic, and he's not wrong for once. Yeah, you might not agree with most things that come out of his mouth, but he's looking like the favorite going into RG. Now, it seems Djokovic is the hot favorite for Roland Garros. Well, there's very little to argue with about this one. He really is going into the Roland Garros as the firm favorite, ahead of Rafael Nadal, the next-gen, and the surprising pick, Carlos Alcaraz. Djokovic has had a tough season after being deported from Australia and banned from taking part in the Sunshine Double in the US. While all that would have had a negative impact, no one can doubt the mental toughness of the Serb. He seems to be speaking at the right time, and winning the Italian Open in that fashion would definitely provide him with the confidence he needs going into the French Open. Djokovic believes he's found his best shape, and how it's been partly down to how lucky the Italian clay has been for him. After all, it was his 12th final at the Foro Italico, and he believes that the city seems to energize him whenever he's feeling a dip in his form. Djokovic will be looking to equal the all-time record for the most Grand Slam wins by a male player in a week's time at the French Open. He's currently tied with Roger Federer on 20, and only Nadal Nadal has more with 21. Do you think Djokovic will lift the record-equaling 21st Grand Slam in Paris? Enough fangirling over Djokovic doing what he does best. Let's take a look at everything else that's been going on in the tennis world, starting with a bittersweet day for French stars. In this year's French Open, we'll be saying goodbye to not just one, but two French players. Both of them have given us many fantastic memories over the years. Every game they play had an element of fear attached to it because the fans felt that it would be the last time they were playing at this level. That was exactly what happened with Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, who lost in the first round to Casper Ruud. He'd won the first set, much to the delight of the French fans, but Ruud powered through and completed a comeback as Tsonga broke down in a teary farewell. On the other hand, Gilles Simon was also expected to feature in the French Open for the final time, and he was facing Pablo Carreno Busta, the 16th Spanish seed. Once again, Simon surpassed expectations to lead the Spanish by 2 sets, only to lose the next 2. The French fans held their breath as Simon clung on and managed to complete a famous win in the final set, much to the delight of court Simone Mathieu. And now for Marta Kostyuk's stance on the Wimbledon ban. Marta Kostyuk, a young tennis player from Ukraine, weighed in with her opinion about the delicate topic of banning Russian and Belarusian players from Wimbledon. Kostyuk believes that the ban is nothing, and these players should be banned from all the tournaments unless they can answer some questions explicitly. She's of the view that the Russian and Belarusian athletes should be asked about their opinion on the invasion of Ukraine, whether they support the military activities of Russia and Belarus in Ukraine, and whether they support the Putin and Lukashenko regimes. The young star wants the Russian and Belarusian players to openly condemn the violence in her country and that the vague comments aren't anything to go by. Her counterpart, Elena Svitolina, also agreed with Kostyuk's comments and believes that silence should also be considered betrayal and players should declare that they're opposed to the ongoing war in Ukraine. Finally, we have first-round exits for Jabeur and Thiem. Dominic Thiem's terrible luck continued as he lost to Bolivia's Hugo Dellien in the first round of the Roland Garros. His struggles with injuries have been tough to take for his fans, and ever since his first Grand Slam win in the US Open back in 2020, Thiem's not been able to experience a lot of success on the ATP Tour. He says that he'll be playing a couple of challenger events to get up to speed before he thinks about Wimbledon. On the women's side of the draw, Ons Jabeur was shocked in the first round of the Roland Garros at the hands of Polish star Magda Linette. Despite winning the first set, Jabeur lost the tiebreak in the second, and Linette broke her late in the third to complete a fantastic comeback in an impressive victory. The 27-year-old Tunisian was considered one of the favorites for winning the Roland Garros after a good clay season, where she won the title in Madrid and lost the final of the Italian Open to Iga Swiatek. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Novak Djokovic is back to his best? Could he win the Roland Garros? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.